attention people out there, important stuff that you should be knowing about, and that is, like, if you seem to think that there's just nothing you want to hear about because you don't have the internet. Now, okay, people out there, understand something. You ever heard of reverse search? Listen, even if you don't have the internet out there, you better be aware that there's information out there. Somebody says people should just worry about themselves. You worry about yourself, I've been told. Well, let me tell you something. You know what that is? In order to take care of yourself and worry about yourself, you better be worried about what kind of stuff people had better be not putting on the internet against you. And so if people want to take care of themselves, like looking out for themselves and not worrying about what everybody else is doing, how about maybe worry about the way you treat other people? Because, hey, it's important to think about that. Because I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but this is an important message. Because I'm telling you, there's too much stuff that's going on. And I can tell you that somebody could be conspiring stuff, and it's getting worse all the time. There's less privacy, people talk about. What about personal safety? Maybe that needs to be a priority too. Because, see, the thing is, if it's not such a serious priority, I mean, I don't take people seriously because they just go with whatever's popular to themselves. Okay, so why don't we start talking about what really is important and make people realize, hey, you don't have to like what somebody's telling you about the internet age, and then you always chew people out like, you don't want to hear this, you don't want to hear that. What difference does it make if somebody's putting stuff out there? Yeah? Well, what about all the ways people can commit identity theft and maybe put out information where they want to pay somebody to burn somebody's house down and so forth? And I can tell you something about this. Is a warning to people here that says, you go around getting the idea you have the right to hit somebody and so forth. The person you're dealing with, you might have dealt with, may not pull a knife on you, and you don't, and you figure, well, there's not a damn thing that person can do if I haul off and hit them. Well, guess what? With a mentality like that, there damn well is something that can happen to you if you go around doing it where you might not feel safe, and somebody might be smarter than you, put you in a situation where they're not going to fight face to face and so forth, and that's going to be the reality of what people can do these days. I mean, have we gotten to a point in society where we just don't, where we're all complacent because people don't care? I mean, like, hey, see, the thing is, you go around acting like that about different people, you just don't want to go around doing that, making up stories, because you figure, hey, I'll go into a bar and say whatever I feel like because it's freedom of speech. Yeah, well, maybe some guy who's a member of a gang isn't old enough to be in that bar and comes in there with his homies, as he calls them, and they pull guns out and they have high-powered explosives and they start shooting people and they commit murder. Or maybe they don't come in there, they just knock the bar off with some C4. And see, the thing is, this is the truth about the kind of stuff that can happen around different places in the United States. Now, see, the thing is, cities like New York and Chicago, they used a lot of good sense when the internet was underway for development. Trouble is, when people have this, I don't care, it doesn't bother me, I don't want to hear about it, and this, that, and the other thing, well, gee whiz, I'm sorry. That's not the way things work. And I'll tell you something. That's going to get you really seriously hurt, because there's a lot of people that'll just aim to put you in danger. Because, see, yeah, I think people ought to think about stuff like that. Why don't they get it straight? There's information out there that can be used against you. I mean, like, and it's getting easier and easier to find something, because guess what? There's no such thing as an unlisted telephone number these days. No. You could have a mailbox at the post office, so what? Pick up your mail there. That won't protect you, because somebody can still find the information out. So see, maybe all these people that think that a gated community protects them because they're worried about crime. What about when crime strikes because some conspiracy was initiated on the internet? No, this isn't philosophical. This is fact. This is stuff that, yes, people say the internet's a waste of time. Well, it's used for a lot of very important things. See, the thing is, the high-speed internet that's going to be light speed is neither good nor bad. Now, how it's used, that's another story. Don't be selfish about other people's rights, because we have to learn how to make peace more now. And it's really more important than people think. Now, there was a guy that I tried to talk to. I tried to tell him all the stuff about the internet. I tried to tell him about all the information that can get out there. What's the matter with you people? Get your heads on straight. Because, see, you may not pay the price for this, but the next generation is going to, especially children being born today. Because someday this country will be theirs. When you see a baby being held and so forth, who's only a couple of months old, or a newborn, or anybody like that, taking a look at children growing up, all the way down to where they're in utero, start caring about what can happen and what will happen and why all of this is something to be concerned about. I mean, really. It's like people just seem to think that it's not my problem to deal with. It's not something I'm concerned about. People are not either interested or uninterested. They just don't have any sense of priority about what's so important these days with what's able to be posted on the internet. And the safety issues need to be very important. Because this I don't care now mentality is going to have to change for the good of our society. Because forget about I don't want to hear about the rest of the world. These aren't issues necessarily reflecting the rest of the world. How about issues reflecting the United States of America, the country that I live in? And I'll tell you something about it. You know what that is? Because people live in a small town. Right. Stupid people is what they are. Because they don't care. They don't want to hear about all the important things. Well, guess what? These people that are retired now figure it's not going to be a problem for them. What about when it does become an issue? Yeah. I wonder when so you're not worried about other people. Just worry about yourself. Well, if you worry about yourself, listen. You'll treat people the way you want to be treated. Because to worry about yourself, you have to be concerned about what will happen with the internet age. People posting information out there. I've heard about identity theft and everything. But let me tell you something. People don't seem to think about the other stuff that's just getting worse. And yet, you know what I'll tell you? Nobody's going to help you. Because I'll tell you something. There are so many hackers out there that know how to build stuff. Guess what? People can develop skills. It's getting easier to not be traced on the internet. I heard about all the anti-hackers and fuzzbusters. Well, guess what? There's a point where you can't stop people blocking radar once radar hits the speed of sound. Because it's a fact that the speed of light is faster than anything. And I'll tell you something. Being that there are cameras that are 8,000 progressive, these 3D cameras, OLED as in organic light emitting diodes, you wonder what this has to do with anything. Let me tell you something. There was an instance where certain people quit their jobs because they were worried for themselves and the safety of their families. These have been people that have worked around the President of the United States because people were saying, hey, where they wanted to commit acts of violence against people in the Secret Service because they're fed up with paying taxes for crap they feel like they don't believe in. And what's happened is it's been getting worse. I mean, doesn't anybody ever stop and just really get stop and really think about what's happening. Stop and think about why we're in the society we're in. I mean, you can't be that dumb. I mean, this is not like people grew up on the frontier. See, the thing is, because they didn't make developments in Aberdeen, South Dakota, it's not important to us. Let the people in Chicago deal with it. If it concerns them personally, then they can worry about it. See, years ago that could have been the case. No, forget it. America's different now. And America's changing. And see, sooner than later, there's going to be issues to be worried about with all this computer animation that's voice activated. In fact, it already is something, and people just have been saying, I don't care about it. Well, I'm going to tell you people something out there. This is something important. And yeah, get the word out. If you pay attention to this because you care about what's happening, then you're not the person I need to try to tell it to. Okay? But if you're always saying, don't worry about what's on the internet against you, well, what about people whose lives have been destroyed on the internet because of other people putting information out there? And yes, it makes me think about some people might just be mean and just hate other people, and they want something to happen. Well, I understand, but they're not the people I'm talking. Thank you. Bye for now.